Hey, this is Mike Johnson again, and we are in video 3 of our initial installation and setup of Prosociate. Want to look at a couple things here moving on. The first thing you need to check, especially if you do want to use features like geo-targeting to where you can target other people from other countries on your site, is to ensure that your base country here is set to United States and that your tracking ID also corresponds with that country's Amazon account. Now you see here we have other countries, and you can target just a single country with your site and not use the geo-targeting if you want. But if you do want to use the geo-targeting, the best measure is to select United States, put the main Amazon.com associate ID here, and then use geo-targeting. Now we'll get into geo-targeting in another video, but that's just for this base screen right here to understand. Now, requirements, make sure that you do have SOAP enabled on your hosting account and OpenSSL enabled on your hosting account. And this is, a very common thing on 95% of hosts. If you've set up your own server, whether it's a VPS or a dedicated server or cloud hosting, make sure that in your installation, when you install Apache or whatever server you're using, make sure that these things are installed and enabled. If you need it, you can contact your hosting support, and more times than not, they turn it on for you. These are very common and basic items in most hosting environments these days. And if your host doesn't have it at all, then I highly suggest moving to another host, especially if you want to continue using WordPress effectively. Now, we're going to kind of skip around here a little bit, and the first thing we'll talk about is the compliance feature. Now, compliance is Amazon's term of service disclaimer. It's ensuring that this disclaimer shows when it's supposed to show, so that you're always operating within Amazon's term of service. This is important so that you can keep your Amazon account in compliance and in good standing all the time. Okay. Now, it's important to also add a terms of service disclaimer at the bottom of your site, like in the footer of your site, using your themes, or if you want to use a widget for, a bottom footer sidebar you might be using, to input that in there so that you operate within Amazon's terms of service as well. You'll see here that only display disclaimer if the pricing data is more than 24 hours old, or you can display disclaimer for all products. Recommendation is to use this because you might never really have to display the disclaimer if your products are up to date using our Cron Job, and I will go over the Cron Job in a minute. But the next thing is where to show the disclaimer, and to only show it on individual product pages or show everywhere prices are displayed. And this is entirely up to you as well, as long as you use it. My recommendation is to only show on individual product pages. And here is how it will show on your site, basically saying, your product's pricing is more than 24 hours old. But if you run the cron job, you won't have to worry about that. Now, to run the cron job, it's as simple as clicking on this nag that'll be here until you hide it, which says configure the cron job. Now, what a cron job is specifically, it is a command that allows certain files in Prosociate to run on a given timeline. And see here, we have the direction, run this URL every 2 minutes. And by doing that, you keep your product data up to date, you keep your subscriptions up to date that you're running. If you're running any subscriptions, everything on your site is up to date all the time, and you have current product data, current pricing, etc. And to make it easier, instead of having another video here on the site, the video for this is right inside your Prosociate installation. So right now, during this point of setting up Prosociate, watch this video and install the cron command that you need to install in your specific, if you're using cPanel, if you're using Plesk, whatever, you set up your cron command for that. There's some common questions answered down here as well. If you're not familiar with what cron jobs do, it gives you a little bit more insight, but that's basically it. Once you've done that, and you set up your cron job, you go back in to the main settings, and then you can move on to the advanced tab in Prosociate, which we'll cover in the next video.